Okay, Olivia and I are entering Manzanar relocation. What's called Manzanar War. Let me get a shot of that. This sign says Manzanar War Relocation Center. Some people simply just know it as Manzanar. And this is the historic entrance. Now on the side, Olivia pointed out there's actually something we're going to show you. It's kind of funny. But where it says here, this is just for historic purposes. I almost said nostalgia. But where it says stop, it says stop military police. This is what you'd probably see if it was still active. But I was looking at that and Olivia goes, whoa, and I go, what? And there's a guy kind of like in the doorway of the first guard shack. But I don't know why there'd be two guard shacks. And a lot of the stuff, as I understand, had been rebuilt a little bit. But we're going to drive around a bit, and I'll show you some of the foundations. And then afterwards, we're going to go to that building off in the distance. And that's where the museum portion is. So this is the second guard shack. I'm not sure why they would have two. I mean, I was in the military for a long time, and I don't remember seeing two. Now, there was probably military police here. Hold on, Olivia sees a sign. I'm gonna go look at it. I'm not gonna get out of the car a lot. It's really hot today, but let me go see. It might explain what the guard shacks are. Okay, so apparently we're at First Street. Now, like I was saying, some people know this as Manzanar. Other people know it as relocation camp. I've also heard concentration camp. And there's actually a plaque. Now, that has a very harsh connotation to it when you say concentration camp, because right away you think of the German concentration camps in Europe, which I had just been to 3 of them a year ago. So my first time to Manzanar, when I read the plaque, and the plaque in front of the museum says concentration camp, kind of scratched my head. But once I went to Dachau, Birkenau, and Auschwitz, there is a purpose to call them concentration camps. And although this was a dark period in U.S. history, this was nothing like what I experienced when I went to the concentration camps in Europe. So standing here in 1942, you would have been at the nerve center of camp life. This was known as First Street. Supply trucks, automobiles rumbled by on this thoroughfare. The lines between camp life and the world outside seemed to intersect. I'm not going to read the whole thing. A typical morning on First Street, saw Secretary Mary, I can't pronounce that name, walking to her job. So it looks like as uniformly as it would to be what you would think of a concentration camp would look like. By the way, you can either enter into the historic entrance, which I got to get back to the car because I think someone's coming through. I was going to read some of those plaques. So let me pause and get back into the car. So Olivia's there's like a driving tour and there's maps you can get. But, you know, for the sake of time, and it is really hot, I'm not going to get out all the time. As Olivia drives around, I kind of wanted you to make a left to go to that other building.
One-way street.
Oh, it is one way? Okay, go ahead. Olivia pointed out we'll loop back around, but there's a Joshua tree out there. So what you see here, you might see some foundations. So this whole area, it was just all had been, I think they said they resourced some of the wood. But all this area that you see that has open fields, if you saw from a bird's eye view, and when we go in the museum, it'll be more explanatory that there would have been huts here. Now these could have been living areas. There was one sign that said Block 8. So this could have been places where they lived. This could have been work areas. And somebody asked, I think it was one of my daughters actually, they said, why do they put it out in the middle of nowhere? And they did exactly that because where are you going to go? I mean, if they were to escape, leave, run away, or whatever, once you get out here, you wouldn't want to leave. I mean, because they have harsh summers, harsh winters. So we're going to keep driving. We're going to go to the museum last, but the museum's off to the left, and I'll show you some of the. Now, as I understand it, these watchtowers or guard towers are actually reproductions also. They're not authentic. But I guess they were built. This building might be original. This it says fire department. That one might be original. And there's some signage there that you can probably go up and read. I think there is another tower or part of a tower that's inside the museum that's original. The cemetery, I believe, is up here. And I think this is one of the living quarters here that we could possibly, yeah, let's pull over here and see if we can walk inside these living quarters. Once again, I'm just not sure at this point which structures are absolutely original from the time period or which ones that they rebuilt to specs so visitors can take a look at what life was like back then. So I don't know if I mentioned it, but we were going to go through the Alabama Hills, what they call the back lot of the movie studio, to see where some of the sites where some of these movies were shot and filmed. But unfortunately that was blocked off, and we came across a family in a Jeep Cherokee that was stuck in the sand. So we tried all we could to dig them out, to no avail. I mean, tried everything. And we were in the all-wheel drive and we were handling it fine, but this Jeep Cherokee was very heavy and it's a rear-wheel drive. They didn't have the 4x version. I can't imagine somebody buying a Jeep that's not 4-wheel drive. That's kind of like what they're known for. So we tried to dig them out. They ended up having to get towed out. So now we're back on track on going to our visit of Manzanar. Now, I took a class, a World War II history class at Lost Area University in Riverside with Professor Howe and Andrew Howe. Really, really good World War II history class. One good approach. I mean, he goes over what we can in a quarter when it comes to the European theater and the Pacific theater, but he takes an approach called total war, which includes the not only what was in not hand to hand, but facing the enemy combat type of stuff, but also total war. What was going on at the home front? What was going on in the United States? Things like this. I don't want to say behind the scenes, but this is interesting. I wonder if these were little, like where they stood. They're in a row. I wonder if that's where they stood when they took roll. I'm not sure. But we went over Manzanar in his class. By the time I took his World War II class, I had been to many of the World War II sites in Europe, including Normandy, and then I had been here before, so it was kind of interesting to do it on an academic level. Summer of 1942. Now, they tried to live as much of a resemblance of a lifestyle, and they try to keep the families together. So there you see a classroom and you see a family in like their living quarters. Still not an ideal situation. There were a lot of people going in that one, which is kind of interesting. It's like everyone's going to the same thing, and Olivia had a good idea why she's going to this one first. So I'm going to go check this one out. Oh, I think this is an example of the school.
Oh, yeah.
So the other one was the living quarters. We'll go in there next, but it seems like that was the one that everyone wanted to go into. Looks like one's a service member. No, this may not be. This may be like their meeting hall, or an example of what the meeting hall looked like.
I think it's a little bit of everything.
That kid needs a glove and a helmet and a face mask. We know the cemetery is nearby. We'll go there next. So here's an example of what I was talking about. They're showing you what the buildings used to be in a row here. blankets. Wow. And thin mattress.
Slept on that?
Looks like some of the
Is that hay?
beds we slept in. Yeah, I think it is. If I remember right, even service members, even in the military, U.S. military, they would get these bags, these canvas bags, and then fill them with hay, and that was your mattress. So all this looks like what a World War II GI would be accustomed to when it comes to his bedding. And I'm thinking back then, so I think Olivia said, would you say 96?
Hmm?
How hot is it today?
Oh, it's like, yeah, 90s.
I think she saw one that said 96 where we're at right now, and
Actually, it's 88.
now she's showing 88, and
90, sorry.
it's 90 degrees, and it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And there was no air conditioning, so I can imagine back in the 40s with no air conditioning on the hottest of days. Then you have to add all the people that would have been in here. Huh. I wonder where they got all this old stuff. Looks like they're gonna set up more beds in here. Oh, this is interesting. So what I'm actually gonna do, because I want to get some still photos, I'm gonna break this one up like I did Bodie, and I'm already at 12 minutes anyway. So this is probably gonna be intro and then living quarters of Manzanar, and then we'll go look at the other places. Military police.
Yeah, my car must take temperature off like the surface of the